work right now. No. Actually, not. No. Hold on, I'll call right back.
You talking about, bro?
So you're talking about there's a difference between being wealthy and rich.
I don't know if that was the conversation. Was that the conversation? I was saying we
ups and downs.
Yeah, it's gonna be ups and downs in life. I was saying we already rich. Our spirit, we already rich. I'm saying you want to get to a certain space financially, but on that road to where you want to go, you don't want to live your life in misery. You know, we got goals, we got dreams, and we got things that we trying to accomplish. But even though growth is pain, you wasn't put on this earth to live your life in a depression or live your life down because you haven't reached certain accomplishments that you want to reach.
That's powerful. Growth is pain.
Growth is pain. On your way to achieving these things, you have to have a certain level of discipline within yourself, confidence within yourself, to not let anything exterior determine who you are as a person or what your value is. You know, a lot of times when you're in pursuit of things, you feel like you're not worth it until you get there. And that's not the case at all. You know, life is a journey, man. You gotta learn to enjoy the process, enjoy the journey.
So for somebody going through a journey right now where they might not be very joyful in this journey, what would you say to them?
I will say your joy is going to ultimately come from you. Whatever circumstance that you're in, you got to understand it's not going to be your circumstance forever. It's not going to be your permanent situation. Whatever it is that you're trying to achieve or whatever situation that you want to go through, you getting there won't necessarily make you joyful. It'll all come from within. Even now, externally, I don't really have any worries right now in my life, but I still find myself sometimes not joyful. You know, whereas I've been in situations that was more dire and I was happier. So it all comes down to who you are and what you allow yourself to indulge in. You know, we can get caught up in the outside world and what everybody else is doing and what this person had, what that person had, but at the end of the day, that's what's throwing your mood off. You comparing, you looking at things that you might have, you don't have.
You know, I've heard a quote, comparison's the thief of joy.
It is. And to be honest, even I know that, but you can still find yourself getting into the humanly, fleshly things and, you know, paying attention to things that really don't have nothing to do with you.
True. That's right there.
So it's just about staying grounded, bro. It's about staying grounded and, you know, understanding that you gotta keep God in the center of your life. You feel me? And not just believing, but actively praying, seeking, and allowing Him to guide you and allowing you to stay in that place of gratitude and joyfulness. So whatever you're going through, you're going to be able to be strong enough to actually go through it without you losing your mind or, you know, you're just feeling worthless. That's what it is.
That's facts.
He has a God-given talent, God-given gift that he's very poetic when he speaks, and it just naturally attracts people's attention. Right?
For sure.
Whenever, like, he'll be talking, and he'll be like, whoa, say that one more time. But there's a lot of power in his words.
No, for sure. What was you saying again, bro? You were just speaking about identity. Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, so basically I was just breaking down to Corey how my old identity was that I was a 300-pound overweight man. That's who I identified myself as. And because I identified myself as a 300-pound man, that means my daily actions reflected that. And that was the reason why I became who I was. But now I have a different identity. I've shifted my identity since I was over excessive. Since I excelled at being obese, now I'm going to be over excessive, and now I'm going to excel in being an athlete. And I will achieve a superhuman-like physique. And that superhuman-like physique is my new identity. And I know what y'all see right here. I know what y'all looking at.
Talk your talk, Rudy.
Yeah, I know what y'all looking at right here. But that...
You're not worried about that?
Yeah, I'm not even worried about that. And look, that ain't no filler. You know what I'm saying? That's pure fat. But the thing about that is that's not who I identify myself with. Because what I see is not what you see. What I see is a fat suit. And this fat suit, I'm ready to rip it off. I'm ready to take that thing off.
What made you want to shift into that mindset? Like, what made you really want to do that?
So the reason why I want to shift into this mindset of having a superhuman-like physique and abilities is because I know if I only try to do the bare minimum and just trying to lose 100 pounds, I know if I just try to do the bare minimum and just trying to drop 40 pounds, I know that same identity is not going to reflect the work ethic that I need to actually burn down every single pound of fat. I would like to be maybe around 8%, 12% body fat. And that's why I say I want my goal weight to be 160 pounds, pure muscle. That's my goal weight right now. I weigh 290 pounds, and it is March 4th, 2026. Correct?
Ew, he got a date on it too.
Yeah.
What's your time frame? Do you have a time frame, or is just
My time frame truly. Look,
you just want to put the actions in the work?
I just want to put the
Yeah.
actions into work, and in the way that I believe or that I know that I'm going to do this, that I've identified myself is as a top tier athlete. And I know I don't have the conditioning right now to.
He talking heavy. I like that. He talking heavy, bro. I like that. That's how you know he gonna do it. Go ahead, bro. I'm listening.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, brother. And so, like I was saying, I know I gotta push myself like a top tier athlete, and I know that work ethic is the only way that I'm able to actually stick to something that I know I can do.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead.
Definitely mention March 21st for you. How that's what that day is gonna be looking like for you.
What's
All right,
that?
so,
What's that?
So March 21st is a street beefs fight, and I also identify as a pro MMA fighter.
Ew, he
You know
like,
what I'm saying?
ew. That's why his
So-
confidence like that. His hands sturdy. That's why his confidence like that. His hands sturdy.
Yeah, so Jordan Ali, I've been having the blessing of having Jordan Ali mentor me, coach me in
Yeah.
MMA. We've been taking it light right now as much as I can because when I even get to it at all, look, I do 3 jumping jacks and I'm winded.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing about that is the next day I'm doing 4 jumping jacks.
Yeah.
And the next after that I'm doing 5 jumping jacks.
So you're not letting nothing discourage you.
No, absolutely not. Actually, I'm letting my limitations encourage me.
Yeah.
I'm letting my limitations give me a checkpoint. Like, okay, here you are right now. Oh, you can only run 200 steps? All right, beautiful. Now use that inspiration. Use that as a checkpoint. Use that as a marker to know that you're going way beyond that.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Dang, bro, I ain't gonna lie. He got me in my bag. He got me ready to train 3-4 times a day. That one workout not enough. It's not even about the weight. It's about the mindset. Like, nah, that's for real though.
Yeah, Chris, he's a very special person.
Yeah.
He could encourage and inspire a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
to come. March 21st.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna see the results of his actions today.
Yes,
It's
for
gonna be
sure.
powerful.
For sure. Yeah, bro, me and you was busting up earlier and you were just saying, I was laughing. I find jokes and everything, but you was basically letting me know how, like, when you was younger, you had gotten into marriage early, and that kind of, after that, it kind of had led to, like, your mindset and things spiraling within you. And my question was, like, what was your mindset being so young, thinking about, like, going into marriage?
So personally for me, I didn't want to fornicate. You know, I was tired of fornication. I was tired of, you know, getting into that kind of activity with somebody that I wasn't married to. You know, I know that God was looking down on me and I knowing better, you know, I know to do better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my mindset truly was, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this the right way. But the intention behind it all was lustful to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So like I was going on it and with intention to be righteous, but the true intention and like what drove it was lust.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I've only known her for a month and then we got married.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'd be laughing too, bro. If anybody else told me, you know, a brother of mine told me that, I'd be laughing in his face like, bro, you crazy.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
crazy. How you gonna do that? Well, my conviction to be right with God led me to that. You know what I'm saying? But my conviction to get right with myself first led me down a wrong path because I lacked that conviction. I lacked the discipline in getting myself right. Man, I don't even have my own place. I was staying with my pops. We were staying there in my room at my pops' place.
Y'all
You know what I'm
was just
saying?
doing it wild. Y'all
Yeah, man, you know, I really wasn't thinking about it. Only thing I was thinking about was one thing, and that only thing. Exactly, bro. I wasn't
Was
thinking.
it worth it? Was it worth the mistake?
Absolutely, because it was absolutely worth it. You know, I wouldn't change it for anything in the world.
No,
you
for
know,
sure.
of course I could have been a better man. Of course I could have guided her better. Of course I could have prepared her better for that situation, right?
Yeah.
But because of that, I was able to learn so much. And what I've truly learned is to never ever compromise my standards, and my standards being righteous standards that God has set upon me, you know, following the law, statutes, and commandments and being a righteous man. but doing so 100% and not just picking and choosing what's convenient for me.
What made you feel comfortable?
Yeah, what made me feel good.
What age?
Man, we got married 2/24/24, and then it broke off on 10/24/24.
And so how long was that? That was how long?
So October 24th is when it broke off. Yeah, man, that's how that went. Didn't play out. You know, I learned my lesson to focus on myself, to focus on my relationship with God. Cause I was really using that as an excuse, like, okay, now that I have somebody to get right with, now we gonna put more time into getting right with God. But that whole time,
it wasn't your relationship with God.
Nah, it wasn't. It was my ego. It was a relationship with my pride and my ego. You know, wanting to do things my way as opposed to how God had already set it up to be. You know, and I'm already knowing how to do this. I'm already knowing that I gotta prove a sister. You know, I gotta get to know her for at least a bare minimum a year. You know, before I even touch the sister, I gotta really know the sister. You know, scriptures say that we gotta be like best friends. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta be able to see the sister like we do a brother. You know, I'm not gonna touch you, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely not.
That's already clear. That's already clear, right? And we all got homies, you know what I'm saying? And unless you roll like that, you know, hey, look, I ain't here to judge. God is, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, like I was saying was, in that same way that you got the homie, you got to be able to have that homie with your girl. You know, you got to be able to have that homie. You got to have that best friend level connection with that woman. Because if you don't, man, you know, beauty fades. You know what I'm saying? But what don't is having that loyalty, is having that best friend. You know, you got a best friend. Y'all locked in for life. Y'all best friends for a reason.
Is that something that you're seeking for? Or now is it like you're going to allow it to fall when it falls?
See, that is something that I'm actually consciously avoiding.
Ooh,
because
I like that.
Because even if I think I'm ready, I know I'm not.
Yeah, you know you.
So
not.
even when I think, okay, God, is this a blessing? No, it's a lesson. It's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity for God to test me to see if I'm actually ready for when it comes in the future.
No, that's a fact,
like I know later down the road, once I get my physique, which won't take no more than 6-8 months, for me to drop these 100 pounds, you know what I'm saying? And I'm 290 right now. I should be at least 190 in 6 months. You know what I'm saying? So once I get my physique right, you know, women are just gonna come flocking anyways. You know what I'm saying? And I know my personality, the way I flow, the way I go. You know,
I like.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
all right. So my question to you today is: so we brothers, we gonna hold each other accountable.
Of course.
What actions did you take today to move you toward that goal?
The action that I took today was making this here, was taking some time to create some social media content, because the more I create social media content, the more I identify as that man who holds himself accountable, who has that documentation online, who has the vlogging, who has the testimony, and who has it all available for the world to see, because I truly want to inspire, and I know for who I am, you know, I will be applying all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's what's up, bro. I ain't gonna tell him what you was doing off the camera, but
yeah, we might have been at the buffet, man. And I might have got an extra burger or two. I said, look, and I told him only a meal a day, baby. I told him only a meal a day, baby.
Yo, my God. That's good, bro. Bro, you funny as I don't know what we doing, bro. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell notification for more vlogs. Let's get it.